Hello, hello, Coyote Christina, surfer, author, dream weaver. We are in week 5 of the Amazed and Amused campaign, and it's actually the last day. It's Saturday, and it's the I Descent. Well, I surf, I descent, and every Saturday we do an I Descent discussion. So thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. I would love to do a live I Descent. If you would want to do that, send me a message, type in the comments live, or type in I Descent. So today I just wanted to talk about the right to be and the right to dignity, which is really housed in our first chakra, down in our root chakra, and kind of talk about becoming comfortable in our own skin and honoring ourselves. And that is where we put ourselves and our foundation in the best place to then stand up for others. And let's see. One of the questions I asked this in my first book, and I mentioned it again in Amazed and Amused. Does the world call you by your name, or are you still pretending to be less than you are? When we embrace our power to transform our lives, when we align ourselves with the rhythms of nature, we hear our name in the call of the wind, wrapping around the contours of our mortal being, whispering and howling as the waves break on the shores of the graces, opening us to our birthright of joy, calling us home. We practice aligning ourselves with the rhythms of nature on a daily basis, and we heed the truth deep within that calls us to honor the dignity of all living beings, starting with ourselves. We must be honest about the place we are if we wish to proceed. We will be tested many times along the way, and we must build our faith to a level where we can look our primal power in the eye without fear, because the untruths we have been told and sold no longer hold sway. We know that every single living creature has the right to be and the right to dignity, and we tell our inner child that nothing that was ever said or done to her or him can ever take away the light that shines deep within each of us. And we're in the relation stage of the journey and talking about the empowerment section. And we talked a little bit about Badger. I read from the Badger section last night, but I wanted to go back to the Badger. I think it's a great energy for I Descent. How do we aggressively and fiercely defend our rights and the rights of others without spreading aggression in the world? And I want to go back to something I said, and one of the key elements I've learned, or when I first read it, I was like, I've never heard that, and that's really interesting, really made me think. Badger provides an insight that anger stems from anger towards self. It is an anger of helplessness that is misdirected towards others. Anger in and of itself is not good or bad. How we express anger can be positive or negative. The key is to be able to hold the anger and rage without lashing out. We need a healthy third and fourth chakras to do this, and to use that energy to create the change needed to make a more kind, loving world if we want to keep moving the U.S. toward the ideal of democracy. No more inactivity can prevail without creating some kind of pain. That comes from medicine cards about Badger medicine and how we need to be aggressive. And this goes against what I was taught growing up. I was taught, go with the flow, don't stir the pot, don't question authority, keep your mouth closed. But these are not valid principles for empowerment or for a democratic society. We cannot build a nation of people by the people and for the people if we are not encouraged to question authority, if we are ridiculed for expressing views that are contrary to the majority or to those that hold positions of power. There's no bliss in ignorance that allows for the continued oppression of fellow citizens simply because they have different color skin. No more excuses. It is time for change. Badger is a very helpful guide to call out abusive power systems that have told us to be good and nice, go with the flow, and don't stir the pot. These are not valid principles for empowerment or for a democratic society. Many of us have endless to-do lists and tasks, and yet we feel like we have accomplished so little. When we have these feelings, we need to ask, does this feeling of lack come from not accomplishing, not getting enough done, Or does it stem from a deeper lack, perhaps a negative belief that I am not enough, and therefore I need to do to prove myself worthy of existing? I'm still asking myself, what would I attempt to do if I knew I could not fail? How do I know what to fight for if I don't know what I truly want? No more inactivity regarding building the life of our dreams. Enough of busy. Time to move past the fear and the helplessness that we felt as children. We are learning to connect with and heal our hearts, and we know that we have the power to build the life of our dreams. And no more inactivity when it comes up for standing up for our rights and for other people's rights. I dissent, I resist. I've been posting on my Instagram, reposting of ICE raids that are a complete abuse of power, that are turning us into a military state. There's no reason that people need to go out in full combat gear with guns, hunting down people and pulling anyone over they feel like who it's racial profiling, who has darker skin. So stay strong out there. Once again, going back to the core of Amazed and Amused, and that self-transformation. And when we do a daily commit to a daily practice, we are embracing our power to transform our own lives, and this has the power to change the world. So stay true to that daily commitment. Work to transform your own life in the direction, move it in the direction you want to go. Stand up for yourself and stand up for others. So thanks for your time, and have a great night.